2020 gone. Finally, fuck that year. Brand new year, brand new day. Everything's going to be so much better in 2021. Yay, 2021. Wait, you're saying the vaccine's not going to be here till when? The summer? No real movies until the summer or later, or maybe even December? What? We still got to wear masks? What? This shit just sounds like 2020 all over again. Man, god damn it, 2021. You're already fucking up. Do 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 ba do ba do ba da ba da ba ba. It's the Super Not Funny Show. Da da da. Hey, all you Fabricans and Fleshbags. Welcome again to the Super Not Funny Show. I am Mo Thepuppet. Yes, that is French. You're a resident Fabrican, talking about all things pop culture, movies, TV, some comics and books, video games, whatever floats your and my boat. It's been a little while since I've seen you. Had a little hiatus over the holidays, but we're back and we're going to be in action. As much action as you can in the midst of a pandemic. We're in no movie theaters, not really any movie theaters, and everything's going to streaming. So I've been sitting my butt on the couch a lot lately. I don't know about you, but I do hope you had a great holiday, whatever your holiday was in December. The new year has begun. Hopefully things start to look up, but don't expect things to look too much differently than the end of 2020. There's a lot of shakeups and moving and craziness over the last month, ever since Thanksgiving. All that stuff with HBO Max. Disney Plus has done some things. Lots of stuff announced. I'm sure you've seen it in other media. We won't tread over it too much, but we are going to cover some news items today. And we're going to do that in a segment called New Threads. After that, we'll hit our main segment, and then we will go over the weekly distractions. So come along for the ride. We're going to talk New Threads. Here on New Threads, we like to talk about any news item in entertainment that piques our interest, floats our boat, or fits our fancy. And we had a few this week that kind of percolated up amongst all of the many news items. Actually, for all the news items, much of it was end of the year, cast off, leftover, whatever. Some stuff that's not super consequential, but maybe of interest if you follow entertainment that closely. There were some deaths. Rest in peace to, I wish I remembered her name, but she played Marianne on Gilligan's Island. Some other people passed away as well. You can check them out. But 2020, as we said in In Memoriam, was a year for some real unfortunate and untimely passings. So we say rest in peace to all of them. But for now, let's talk about a few news items. As you all may know, Warner Brothers kind of lit a fire under the industry, and not a good way. Lit a fire in the way that someone throws a match carelessly out into brush in California and starts a wildfire. But they did light a fire under the industry, talking about all of their 2021 slate going straight to HBO Max and theater at the same time. And let me just say, not the most popular decision. Just offhand, not too happy about it from people. And in fact, there's been some moves on that front. It appears that Legendary Pictures is going to get its way, and their releases are going to be theatrical. Most likely because Warner Brothers know they can't fight that case and win it. So, to that end, we will see Dune in the theater, and maybe we'll see Kong vs. Godzilla. Who knows? What we do know is that Warner does control what DC Films does, and to that end, we got some word from Walter Hamada about the plans for DC Films in the future. And let's just say streaming is a part of a big part even of the equation. To that end, Hamada speaks about going to 4 DC film releases per year theatrical, which, let me just say, tall order. It took Marvel years of ramping up to get to that. It's very ambitious, I would say. And I'd, I'd say it probably works. I think on balance, we want more rather than less superhero stuff. So why not? But not just, you know, being content to settle on that. He also mentioned about they're actively developing spin-off franchises for DC properties, specifically to spin out of any of their movies. So there had been rumors, in fact, not even rumors, it had been talked about straight up that there was going to be a Gotham Central show spinning out of the new Batman movie. Additionally, we knew that there is a Peacemaker show that is being shot as we speak in Canada as a spin-off, a prequel spin-off of James Gunn's The Suicide Squad. But they're actively seeking more spin-offs from their various films coming from DC. They talk specific about Flashpoint and about how Flashpoint relates to the multiverse, and that in particular, DC films going forward will be filmed explicitly acknowledging that there's a multiverse and that not every film does not specifically work in a particular universe. So, for instance, Gal Gadot's Wonder Woman and Aquaman, they occupy the same universe as Ben Affleck's Batman, but not as Robert Pattinson's Batman. Flashpoint exists to explicitly explain this to audiences, and I guess it'll explain other stuff to close out Ben Affleck's and possibly Henry Cavill's whole time as the Caped Crusader and the Man of Steel. There is, of course, rumors, unsubstantiated, that there may be a Superman in the works coming from J.J. Abrams, who just signed a big boy deal with Warner Brothers. We'll see about that. It will be nice. I'm not saying it won't be nice, but we don't really know for sure about that. However, we do know that there are many things down the pipeline. And he also mentioned things about the actually DC TV projects. There's Green Lantern in the works for certain. So what we're really seeing here is DC doubling down on what they're doing right now. Even we heard that they're fast tracking Wonder Woman 3 from Patty Jenkins. So I suppose they saw something good come out of Wonder Woman 84 dropping on HBO Max and theatrically. And we'll talk about that in just a moment. But the point being here is, hey, as a comic book fan, you should be pretty hyped, because anytime someone is putting money into a comic book film or film franchises, they're throwing money at this. And let's just say, in this case, the streaming wars are very good for us as fans of comic book properties, because DC is willing to put money up, not just for big boy tentpole films like Wonder Woman or Aquaman, the big players. They're also, and you could say for better or worse, but they're also intent on making movies directly for streaming. Particularly, they called out Static Shock. I guess they said it's a more risky venture. I think that's bullshit. Static Shock is pretty much just fucking Spider-Man, but he's a black kid with electricity powers. So I don't see how that fucking misses. But, whatever, we're getting it. They are, let us just say that Disney's announcement of their huge commitment to streaming and Disney Plus is probably scaring the crap out of everyone at DC, because it's just so big and ambitious, and it's bound to work in some ways because they're dealing with Marvel and Star Wars and all sorts of things. It's huge. They are putting all their money, so to speak, into Disney Plus, and HBO is HBO Max is playing catch up, but is also the reason we're getting the Snyder Cut. So again, if you're a fan of these things, you should be excited because more shine, more money, more attention, more effort into making great comic book properties. In related news, Wonder Woman 84, as we all know, dropped on Christmas Day on HBO Max to great fanfare and some pretty mixed reactions online, depending on what corner of the internet you like to occupy. Either it's 100% garbage or the best thing ever, or if you just pay attention to what I say, it's a mixed bag and mostly good. That said, what does it mean for business? Well, HBO apparently had an uptick in subscribers. I assume it would be due to Wonder Woman 84 because it's the only place you can get it, at least until the 24th, unless you're going to go to a movie theater. Not a great uptick, not the uptick that Soul seems to have provided to Disney Plus, but still an uptick nonetheless. Also, Wonder Woman has, in its first couple weeks, has passed the $100 million mark worldwide, which, is not what they're looking for, but, Tenet did, I want to say 350 mil in months of trade, so who knows, as it rolls out some more, perhaps it will pick up, 300 million, which would be a win. Let's call it what it is. It would be a win. At the very least, it would pay back the production costs. It wouldn't pay back the marketing costs, but it would pay back the production costs. And HBO Max, at least for the rest of the month, it would be a premium or a good reason to sign up. I mean, sign up for $17 or pay $17 to see it once. So, it makes sense. This, of course, isn't exactly what they wanted from this film, but especially the divisive nature of the reception of the movie. But overall, I think probably it would be seen as a win. Depends on what the subscriber numbers are, but if this is setting a precedent and actually giving people an incentive to look forward to more first run movies on HBO Max, I think it's a win overall. But good on Wonder Woman. I think it probably deserves that money it's getting. And if you're not a huge comic book nerd, this probably actually is very appealing to you. And finally, I guess unfortunate news if you are a fan of network TV or just, TV shows getting done on time. COVID has been screwing up production schedules, since production got back in play over the summer. But in particular, if you're a fan of network TV, it's pushing back the premiere, or I guess the post-Christmas premiere of your particular show. For me in particular, the freaking Goldbergs, which only put out 7 episodes in the fall, and we are waiting for the 8th episode, which is going to premiere on, it looks like, January 11th. Actually, I'm wrong. January 11th is when it continues its production, and in fact, it should come out the week after that. So there's a list. I'm not going to go over the whole list, but you should know that if you are looking for most of the ABC scripted shows, they are slated to return at January 11th to production, which of course means that the week after that is when you get the show. So that includes Grey's Anatomy, 911 on Fox, Blackish, Love, Victor, and the Orville. There are Last Man Standing. In addition, from Universal TV, the new Mr. Mayor, which stars Ted Danson, Brooklyn Nine-Nine, Good Girls, from WB, Once again, January 11th for these also. Bob Hart at Abishola. Mom, Be Positive, which is a new show that seems to be doing pretty well for them over there. Also, Lucifer and Young Sheldon appear that they will be resuming production on the 11th. From CBS, NCIS, SEAL Team, Diary of a Future President, NCIS Los Angeles. I'm sure there are more that I'm missing, but the point here is that COVID protocols. I recall a couple weeks ago, there's this big deal about Tom Cruise bitching out several people on the Mission Impossible set for not following COVID protocols. And this right here is why. Of course, the other reason why is because many of these shows are produced in LA, or, they're produced, they're produced in LA, and there's a big, more or less their lockdown situation is making it harder to produce things in LA. But also, like I said, Tom Cruise bitched some people out, and rightfully so, because in so doing, one person getting COVID on a set shuts it down. So I think we're going to see more of this all year. We're going to see this on movies. We're going to see this on TV. There is a real cost to this. It's going to cause budgets to rise. It's going to cause fewer things to be made, and we're worse for it. So take that as a lesson. Do you like entertainment? Do you want shit to come out on time? Do you want to get all the stuff that you really love? Wear a fucking mask and get the damn get the damn vaccine when it's available to you. I'm serious. If you want stuff to get here on time, you really have to, help. And maybe you aren't in LA, but you can model good behavior, man. Come on. Everyone in LA, wear a fucking mask. I really want, really want the Goldbergs to finish its season. Okay? Thank you. Have a nice day. Anywho, I'm sure we'll see more of that in the future. There's more news. I'm sure there is. Maybe I missed something that you wanted me to talk about. Let me know. Shoot me something in the comments. Send me an email, or you can tweet me. It's super not funny s1 on Twitter. supernotfunnyshow@gmail.com. Hit me up, and I'll check it out. All right, that has been the new threads. Moving on to the next segment. It's time for our main topic this week. The first topic of 2021 for the Super Not Funny Show. We're going to be talking about Star Wars in 2021. Just so you know, I don't know, we've never made it clear, but I love Star Wars. Grew up on it. Love all incarnations of it. Don't love every bit of it. I'm looking at you, the Phantom Menace, and the Attack of the Clones. Looking straight at you. But for the most part, love it. Have been involved in some way or shape or form for most of my life, and have even delved into the Legends stuff, which used to not be Legends, just used to be just extra stories. So most recently, besides the sequel trilogy, we have been checking out The Mandalorian, and God bless Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni and Kathleen Kennedy for making that happen, because it accomplished something that even the sequel trilogy couldn't, which was get me damn excited about Star Wars again. Actually legit, for real excited. I'm going to open my wallet because I like Star Wars so much. So to that end, I found out, or I mean, we all could have found out, but I learned last year, early last year, that the Star Wars story group at Lucasfilm was developing a big high concept story arc, story playground, whatever you want to call it, a setting called the High Republic. And it's set 200 years before the start, I guess you could say, of the Skywalker saga. So it's not containing any real connections to there, except, of course, Yoda, because Yoda's old as hell. And the idea is that this is the Republic, the old Republic, at its best before the decline and so forth into the Empire. And it sounded really cool then, but I was like, okay, whatever. I'll check it out maybe. Didn't sound like they're going to be doing any TV or movies, so why should I care? I'm all casual about this. But then Grogu and Luke Skywalker and all this other stuff and Mandalorian, I'm just like super stoked. I want more Star Wars stuff, and so I decided I'm going all in on this High Republic stuff. I'm opening my wallet. You can have my money, Lucasfilm. Just take it and give me good stories. This wasn't a completely Mandalorian. I should say, it's not like Mandalorian is going to be in this, but I have read Star Wars comics in the last couple of years, and they were pretty good, and comics are a part of this, and one of the writers of the main first book is from comics, so I was like, hey, let's give it a look. And it's got an interesting premise, so while I ramble on, why don't I explain it to you? So, the High Republic takes place again 200 years before the Skywalker saga, and it takes place in a galaxy where the Jedi, at the height of their power and influence, and are peacekeepers and known throughout the galaxy as mystics and warriors and so forth. It's a time when the Republic is at its zenith and is making an effort to push further into the outer rim, the where the more lawless Wild West sort of setting that we see in Mandalorian. And to that end, the Jedi are going to serve as sort of ambassadors of sorts. The High Republic then starts off with a book by Charles Soule called Light of the Jedi, releasing on January 5th, which mean it will be out by now when you see this video. A hyperspace catastrophe happens. A ship breaks up in hyperspace, and its parts start coming out of hyperspace across an entire system, and puts it in jeopardy of wiping out hundreds, millions, hundreds of millions, perhaps billions, I guess. And the Jedi must come in to help save the day, with the Republic, of course. But what they don't know, this is what this book's supposed to say, is that the disaster may not have just been accidental, may have been intentional. There's some sinister force that we don't know about. And hint, they say in the press releases, there's a new threat that the Jedi are unaware of and are going to have to face. This, I have to be honest, has some hints of the Yuuzhan Vong from Legends, but I'm not going to say any more about that. Let's just know this first book is all about, I guess, finding out more about that. That's coming January 5th of 2021. After that one, actually on the same day, now that I think about it, a younger age book called A Test of Courage. This is for fifth, I want to say it's from 8 to 12-year-olds. Test of Courage. It says when a transport ship is kicked out of hyperspace as part of a galaxy-wide disaster, which I'm assuming is going to be the hyperspace accident. Newly minted teen Jedi Finestra Rowe, a young Padawan, an audacious tech kid, and the son of an ambassador are stranded on a jungle moon where they must work together to survive both the dangerous terrain and a hidden danger lurking in the shadows. And then we have, also coming out on the 6th of January, Star Wars The High Republic comic book from Marvel Comics. Before the Skywalker saga, the Golden Age of the Jedi, I'm reading the print, a new era of Star Wars storytelling begins. It is centuries before the Skywalker saga. The Jedi are at their height, protecting the galaxy as Republic pioneers push out into new territories. As the frontier prepares for the dedication of majestic Starlight Beacon, Padawan Keeve Trennis faces the ultimate choice. Will she complete her Jedi trials or rescue the innocent from disaster? New Jedi, new ships, new evils to fight. Woo, sounds good, huh? And that's going to be an ongoing High Republic comic book from Marvel. Now, starting in February 2nd, in fact, another book, a YA novel by Claudia Gray, called Into the Dark, releases. Padawan Reith Silas is being sent from the cosmopolitan galactic capital of Coruscant to the undeveloped frontier, and he couldn't be less happy about it. He'd rather stay at the Jedi Temple, studying the archives, but when the ship he's traveling on is knocked out of hyperspace by, guess what, that same little disaster, Reith finds himself at the center of the action. The Jedi and their traveling companions find refuge on what appears to be an abandoned space station, but then strange things start happening, leading the Jedi to investigate the truth behind the mysterious station, a truth that could end in tragedy. Then we have another comic book called Star Wars The High Republic Adventures from IDW, starting in the end of February. Flaming destruction is coming to Trimant 4. A remnant of the hyperspace disaster appears in the sky, and Zine and her best friend Crix have only minutes to get to the Elders of the Path and find safety. Meanwhile, Master Yoda's going to be in a comic. That's rad. Master Barrow and a group of Padawans are racing towards the disaster for a daring rescue mission. Then, later on in the year, there's a book called The Rising Storm on June 29th. Also on June 29th, we have the junior novel Race to Crash Point Tower. And it looks to be featuring some of the same characters from the earlier junior novel or young novel, A Test of Courage. We'll see. There's not a huge amount of information about that one. Also, on July 27th, Out of the Shadows, another young adult novel. Again, not a lot of details about that. After that, we have several titles that are to be announced on the release date, but they all look very interesting. There is The Edge of Balance, which is an original manga written by Justine Ireland and others. Justine Ireland, who wrote A Test of Courage, and it is going to be an original manga, as I said. The first is, if I believe, original manga for the Star Wars universe. I could be wrong, but I believe that's correct. After that is The Monster of Temple Peak. It is an original graphic novel. And we also have Starlight, which is going to be a series of interconnected short stories that go in Star Wars Insider magazine. And to my knowledge, that is the entirety of the printed High Republic output for the year 2021. They are doing something they used to do with the books in the Legends universe, which is planning a big crossover event. So everything affects everything. So this is the MCU-ization, if you will, of the Star Wars books. And because they are not in the Skywalker saga, they can play around. They don't really affect a huge amount. But I've heard some rumors that the High Republic could, in fact, go as far as 50 years before the birth of Anakin Skywalker. And 50 years before the birth of Anakin Skywalker, I might add, is when Darth Sidious, Palpatine's master, would have been alive. Just something to keep in mind. So, all very exciting stuff. I mean, look, we're so used to all this Skywalker saga stuff. It's nice. I love it. I really do. It's what, we all grew up on. But there's so much more. If you are an old school Star Wars fan, you got tired of waiting for more movies and just started reading the stuff they put out. This is a part of canon. And that, by the way, it is canon. This is all canon because the Star Wars Story Group is involved with this. This is a straight official Lucasfilm adaptation. And oh, by the way, something they didn't note, there is, in fact, a TV show set in the High Republic that will be coming to Disney Plus. And that is called Acolyte. It's about a Sith acolyte in the High Republic. Yes, Sith did exist during the High Republic. If you know your Star Wars history, they were in fact underground and by then had turned to the rule of two. But that's something for another day. The point is, this is a multimedia deal, not just books and magazines and comics, also TV. So I'm really excited. Looking forward to it. What a great way to start off 2021 with a new setting, a new set of characters, new places, new things to fall in love with in Star Wars. So look forward to that. I am. And of course, I will report back about how it all shakes out. Now, not just High Republic for Star Wars this year, there are ongoing Star Wars comics that are continuing to be printed. I won't go too far into them. I will tell you, Star Wars comics are really good. They have some top-notch creators, top-notch storytellers, great art. It's all around a worthwhile investment of your time to go check all this out. In fact, I believe if you do Comixology Unlimited, you could probably read an awful lot of them for the free, or at least for however much your subscription is. So you might want to check it out if you got time to read some comics. I'm going to highlight the major ones for this coming year. And I might also note, just to give you a little background, the first run of these are all second run or second volume, whatever you want to call it, of the comics. The first one, the first volumes or whatever, took place between A New Hope and Empire Strikes Back. But since then, they have started new volumes and renumbered, and now all of these are taking place between Empire and Return of the Jedi. So, as we know, there's years between each of the movies in the series, so there's so much area and room to work and weave stories that don't necessarily break canon. And by the way, this is all canon. But also, as a matter of fact, some things have or may make their way into the actual TV and or movies. So, but it's just a lot of fun. Like with most things, these little side bits, just understand they could be overwritten at any time as convenient. But there's just fun stuff to do. So you have Star Wars, the main Star Wars. You have the Darth Vader comic book, Dr. Aphra, which, oh gosh, I really, really hope, and I think they are developing a Dr. Aphra TV show, and they should. She's like this amoral, like Indiana Jones slash Han Solo-ish super genius with some killer robots. She's so awesome. It's really, really, really good comic, and I don't know how the hell she lives because she's got let's just say she's got a big mouth, and she thinks highly of herself, but she can back it up. So it's really cool. Then Star Wars Bounty Hunters, and as I understand, these are just little short stories that again take place in between the different eras, so they're not stuck to any particular time period. And then Star Wars Adventures also, I believe they are taking place in various time periods. So there's that on the comic front. And of course, they're putting out, trade paperbacks and the like that you can always check out. Again, recommend Comixology Unlimited just because you can get a lot of bang for your buck and read a lot of Star Wars comics, including Legend stuff. So if that floats your boat. Finally, the last thing I'll note, the last official thing, things could change, of course, because, they don't always give you the timelines or dates or whatever. We've been told that Mandalorian Season 3 is going to be running this year, at the end of this year, and they have filmed it. I believe they are, but they have not given a date. However, we have gotten a date, or at least a month, for the Book of Boba Fett, which, if you watch the end of Mandalorian Season 2, that was revealed, which was awesome. Boba Fett was really, really awesome in this season. We didn't get enough of him. Fennec Shan, played by the awesome Ming-Na Wen, was great. Just great. And apparently, Boba Fett's going to take over Jabba the Hutt's empire. He killed Bib Fortuna, who apparently was the caretaker of the criminal empire. So I don't know. It just says the Book of Boba Fett. It's a limited series and it's coming out in December. Super excited about that. Super excited about The Mandalorian. Just super excited about a lot of things with Disney Plus, Star Wars, but they aren't coming until 2022. So we're just got to wait all year for a Book of Boba Fett. Hopefully biding our time till then. But we got plenty to look into Star Wars wise. Comics, books, all that stuff. All these things are flights of fancy shall be well, that doesn't make any sense. Our flights of fancy shall be taking off, I would say. Again, I'm going to check it all out, and I'll let you know what it's all about. Should you be checking it out? We'll know soon. But that's Star Wars for 2021. And if things change, I'll come back and add some more stuff, let you know about it. Did I miss anything? Maybe I didn't do my research very well. Let me know. Hit me up in the comments or send me an email or a tweet. And we can go ahead and discuss how awesome Star Wars looks right now. That's been the main segment for this week, Star Wars in 2021. And now, moving on to our weekly distractions. And now it's time for this week's weekly distractions. These are all the things that are distracting us away from the real world, all the sorts of entertainment that we get up to during the week. This week, this is a banner week. So much time on our hands because of the holiday, because of the first. So this week's list is really long. I'll try not to keep it too long. Starting off, we kicked it old school this week with some old school jams. And these old school jams are a couple things I've seen before and one I hadn't. So to start off, I with Jen, took a look at Grease, the 1978 classic starring John Travolta and Olivia Newton-John. Never had seen it before. I don't feel embarrassed about it. I just missed it. Somehow or another missed it throughout my life. But I decided, what the hell, let's just sit down and watch this thing. And you know what? Pretty good. Pretty good overall. Um, it's so old school, but like in the funnest way, I guess you could say. Um, just the whole, it's almost like a Happy Days sort of deal. In fact, I wouldn't doubt that Happy Days had some kind of influence on it. Um, the songs are fun and catchy. I like the characters. They were interesting. Um, is it a deep story? No, not at all. Is it a timeless story? Sure, maybe. But I can understand why it's considered a classic and a lot of people like it. So I recommend checking it out. Grease is pretty cool. Also checked out the Naked Gun. The first one, Naked Gun from the Files of Police Squad, and if I guess if you're under a certain age, you have no idea what this stuff is. Um, just consider it a parody movie of police procedurals from like the 50s and 60s, the old school. It's based on an actual TV show from the 80s that was itself a parody of old school police procedurals like Dragnet, um, called Police Squad. And it stars Leslie Nielsen as Lieutenant Frank Drebin. And he gets up to all sorts of ridiculous, absolutely ridiculous hijinks. There's a lot of silly and crude humor in here, a lot of double entendres. And the greatest thing about it is that Leslie Nielsen is, in comedic genius fashion, completely playing it straight. I really like comedic timing of playing it completely straight and straight faced, but still saying the most ridiculous things possible. This is part of the reason why I like Will Ferrell so much, because he can just say ridiculous things and can be completely serious about it. And Leslie Nielsen does it in this case. Very enjoyable, very funny. Also had some references that make no sense to you if you're not a certain age. So understand that going into it. But a lot of it is actually just very silly, very situational humor, and I think you can get it no matter how old you are. Um, Also, finally, on the old school jams, we watched Wes Craven's New Nightmare. This was really for Jen's benefit because I'd seen New Nightmare several times. I'm an old school Freddy Krueger fan, and Jen and we worked our way through the Nightmare on Elm Street series, and this was the final one in all of the movies, including the new one. And I figured it's on streaming, so we could check it out, and we did. And hey, it's not very good movie. If you go into it expecting a Freddy Krueger movie, you don't get that for more than half of the movie. More than half of the movie is half about Heather Langenkamp, who, if you are a Freddy Krueger aficionado, would know is Nancy from the very first one. But half of it is about her, and there's some meta stuff going on about the entertainment industry and myths and entities, and it's a lot of metaphysical mumbo jumbo, to be quite honest. Almost pretentious sounding, except it's about Freddy Krueger. So how pretentious can it be? And then it turns into a Freddy Krueger movie, like in the last third of the movie. Some good fun stuff in there, some really dumb stuff too. Not a great movie, but hey, if you're watching the Freddy Krueger movies, you should at least check it out. I mean, come on. It just finish the set. That's all I say. So, good times though. Also, we did some binging this weekend. Hardcore binging. We binged all of Lovecraft Country season 1. We went through the entirety of that. Wow. I'm not going to say too much about it because I really do want to do a season review and discussion. But it's pretty darn interesting. It's, can I say, lavish production design, production values, looks great, shot great, good music, good cast. I mean, I understand some people have some problems with the storytelling as it proceeds, but man, it doesn't play around. There, the themes and the ongoing issues involved. It's just something. It's really great. I enjoy the hell out of it, especially because I'm a big sci-fi, fantasy, horror buff. So seeing all these mashed together and then have actual interesting and useful commentary on society. I mean, give me just take my money. Give me all of those things, please. Thank you very much. So I'm really, really looking forward to whatever they want to do in season 2, and they've got to do season 2 because season 1 was hugely successful. So check it out. It's on HBO Max, or HBO, I guess, if you I don't know have cable for some reason. We also started binging Star Trek Discovery Season 3. Just kind of been holding out on that one for a minute, just to get more underneath, I guess, more episodes under the belt. Had an idea to do it week to week, but just didn't work out for the show. So we're just like Lovecraft Country. Once it's all done, we're going to do a season in review and really kind of break it down and discuss what's good, bad, about that show. But so far, 3 episodes in, loving it. It's pretty great. It's got there's been some minor stupid stuff, like really whatever stuff, but more or less, I think it's pretty great. So enjoying what I'm seeing so far. Can't wait to see more. As usual, we have watched The Stand. We're watching that week to week. And the review for episode 3 should be out shortly. But again, enjoying that. Liking how it's going. Want to see where it's going in the future. I, of course, know all about what the story is supposed to be because I've read the book and I've seen the original miniseries. But it's okay because I like the journey. And the journey so far is pretty cool. Other things that aren't TV and movies, I am steadily trying to finish reading Ready Player 2, which has been out for a couple months, but not a couple months, I'd say 6 weeks now. And for whatever reason, I've been struggling to actually read the darn thing. So in the interest of having a fun and fruitful discussion about the book in the near future, I've just decided to go ahead and push my way through the end. And so far, I guess I'm mixed on it. The first half of the book is it's a little tough, I guess, especially as a huge fan of the first book. But it's kind of picked up from the halfway point. I don't think it's treading any new ground. It's not breaking any new ground. I don't think that's Klein's best suit is to do new. I mean, his first book was literally about mining pop culture and making a game out of it. So that being said, I guess I'm liking it more towards the end of it. So we'll see. Review and discussion of that also coming up. Beyond that, watch a movie by George Clooney, starring George Clooney, and David Oyelowo and Felicity Jones, and it's called Midnight Sky on Netflix. And sci-fi, post-apocalyptic character study. There's all sorts of stuff going on in there. Very, in my opinion, beautifully shot, very nice looking. It had some great special effects. I mean, there's spaceships and stuff going on in there. Was it the greatest story? I don't know about that, but I thought it was executed well. I enjoyed it. Jen enjoyed it. So I would say go check it out. I think George Clooney did a pretty great job on it, even if it's a bit of a depressing story, but still, I enjoyed it. And finally, we got Smash Brothers Ultimate for Christmas, and neither of us know what the hell we're doing. So it's our goal, our plan to actually get good, as they say on the internet, as the kids say, get good. I honestly just want to not be an immediate, you know, three and out death person like I usually am playing Smash Brothers. So I'm actually trying to learn what I'm supposed to be doing. Playing the PC a lot, which is no way actually to get any good, but I need to know actually how to execute moves on the regular. So, and also unlock many of the characters. But I'm enjoying it. Just bruising the hell out of my thumbs. See, you can see my thumbs bruised. So that's about it for our weekly distractions. What are you distracted by? What are you checking out? What's keeping you entertained? Let us know down in the comments. Shoot us an email or send us a tweet. That's it for our weekly distractions. All right, all you Fabricans and Fleshbags, we hope you enjoyed this week's episode of the Super Not Funny Show. As always, if you have a comment, complaint, criticism, you just want to drop us a line, tell us what you think about things, or tell us things we ought to be covering, you can always, of course, send a comment to this video, but we have an email, supernotfunnyshow@gmail.com, or hit us up on Twitter at supernotfunnys1. Join us next week for a sort of sequel to this episode in which we're going to be reviewing and discussing the Star Wars High Republic First Offerings. That would be A Test of Courage, Light of the Jedi, Star Wars, the High Republic comic. And we're just going to tell you what's it all about. Is it any good? Should you be checking it out? You're going to find out next week, so come back and join us for that. As well as the news that you want to hear about in entertainment and pop culture, and our weekly distractions. I've been your host, Mo Thepuppet, and I just want to say thanks for joining us again, and we'll catch you on the other side of the thread, all you Fabricans and Fleshbags. Peace.